So what's going on, everybody? That's right. We are here, December 14th, and it is the Boxing Source Midweek Report. And, we got a few things here that we're going to be, talking about. But, what it is going through the topic, and you see the title there, we're going over a few things in reference to what happened over in Omaha, Nebraska. And, we want to try to get through this, from what I've been hearing over the past couple of days. Here we are, it's Wednesday. Of course, the fight took place Saturday, December 10th. And, we've had a number of things that have kind of like been buzzing around in reference to what has happened over in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, of course, first off, we want to talk about the result. Of course, 6th-round knockout that Terence Crawford scored over David Avanesyan. Yes, he is the WBO welterweight champion. Yes, he is still undefeated. And that, he was able to, defend that WBO welterweight title once again. So, yeah, we pretty much, know about that. You'll have that done out of the way, but of course, there are a few things that kind of like, were, circling around that. We got some crazy stuff going on around here in this area, man. Got, some ambulances going crazy or something. But, like I said, Terence Crawford scored the 30th knockout of his professional career here against David Avanesyan. That was, I said a 6th-round knockout. But of course, you have first the circumstances that came before the knockout, and that is the gloves that Terence Crawford was using. They were Everlast gloves, and eventually over the course of the fight, those Everlast gloves started to come apart. And so you had Terence Crawford with gloves that had, I think it was like a tear in, I think it was his right hand, right? So, going into, I guess, the 6th round or whatever it is, or middle of the 6th round, they had taken a look at those gloves in that they, had that issue with it coming apart. And usually with fights that happen, you go through certain steps, certain protocols when it comes to fight things and things like that. One time for Joseph Heron of War Week Radio, checking in here live. Glad that you're checking in here with the Boxing Source on the Midweek Report. Pretty much talking about the circumstances surrounding Terence Crawford and his win over David Avanesyan in the CHI Health Center in Omaha, Nebraska. Just talked about him getting a 6th-round knockout, but we talk about the little issue with his gloves. Now, usually, as you know, if you're in boxing, that these fighters go through certain protocols before the fight. One of them is, choosing gloves before the fight. And, they choose a set of gloves that are approved by the State Athletic Commission that, would be approved, by all parties involved within a fight. But also, if you have one pair of gloves, you should also have an alternate pair of gloves, just in case something goes on, with the pair that you originally choose. So you have that, a few days before the fight. Usually have that happen the days before the fight. And, the other thing is that you also have, right before the fight takes place, you're in the locker room, you're a fighter in your locker room, and you're getting yourself ready to go, and you get your gloves pretty much, you put on your gloves, and you have your trainer, your 2 second or whatever, be able to take the gloves, and there's a party from the opponent side that watches them tape up the gloves. So that also, takes place before the fight actually happens. And one of the things that has been buzzing around is that, maybe there was something going on before the fight where they were having issues with the gloves before the fight actually took place. It's kind of weird to me. Like I said, I was on site in New York City for the Teofimo Lopez versus Sandro Martin event. So I did not follow what was going on live with Terence Crawford versus David Avanesyan. So this is going off of reports of folks that, either were there live or were watching live on either BOK Prime or, under a platform through DirecTV or Dish Network. So those, were the circumstances there. But before I continue on, I have a special guest here that is here to join us here on the Midweek Report. They have been on with Boxing Source before, and I've been on their shows before. And this is the host of War Week Radio Network, Joseph Herring. What's going on?
Hey, JR, how you doing tonight, brother? An early Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Happy New Year, my friend. I tell you what, we'll be going live in about 2 hours. I'm sure your show will be wrapped up by then. So I'm hoping you can join me for a very special pre-Christmas edition of Fact or Fiction.
Oh,
dude,
that would be a good one.
Well, and it's pertaining to a lot of this, what you're talking about. And this is, and I'm sure you're getting into this. Mm-hmm. But this is the problem with staging a major fight in the Nebraska area, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'll be perfectly honest. I know a lot of fighters and a lot of people like the Everlast product, and they've taken great strides to update and improve their product over the last several decades. Mm-hmm. But traditionally, let's just be honest, it's a crap product, man. For as much as they charge, and you've put on a pair of Everlast before, the Power Locks are probably the best ones that they have. Okay? The Elites are nice, but the MX Everlast are dog shit. Every fighter I know of that uses MX Everlast, they end up having hand problems or break their hand, worst case scenario. Mm-hmm. Okay? In my opinion, it's always been a subpar product ever since Elvis Grant put out his masterpiece. In my opinion, Elvis Grant's are the very best product you can have. I do like Russ Amber's product with Rival. Those are really, really nice gloves. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, nothing is comparable to the Elvis Grant masterpiece. Right. Those gloves are the Cadillac of boxing gloves. And if you can spend the money and you get a custom pair made by Elvis Grant, then you should do that. Because if you've ever put on a pair of Elvis Grants, one, have you ever heard of a pair of Elvis Grants being defective in a major prize fight?
Nope. Never.
No. If you put those on and your hands are wrapped, you could punch a brick wall and it feels like nothing. Oof. Seriously, those are beautiful. It's a beautiful product. He raised the bar when he broke off of Cleto Reyes and started making his own line of gloves. He really set the bar very, very high. Everyone else is just merely catching up to him. So but this is inexcusable. Okay, this is inexcusable. And you hit the nail on the head. You're supposed to get those inspected, right. And you're supposed to have a backup pair.
Right.
Your A pair and your B pair in case of something like this. Mm-hmm. Okay, but once again, you need to have knowledgeable and mentored inspectors in the corner, in the back, inspecting these gloves, inspecting the fighters, inspecting their corners, inspecting the water, everything.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but the Nevada State Athletic Commission, or I'm sorry, the Nebraska State Athletic Commission, they when is the last time a big event has taken place in Nebraska?
What, the Crawford Jose Benavidez fight?
Was that a big event?
Yeah, but that's not a big event to me.
No, dude, no. That was an ESPN Friday Night Fight special. Come on.
I mean, it definitely wasn't anywhere near a pay-per-view event.
No.
And that was one thing that I had kind of like called into question leading into that particular event. So you do have the one thing about the gloves. Like you said, it was like coming apart. And for them to actually go through or go forward with the fight and having the fight continue while him having those same gloves,
inexcusable.
Yeah, it's inexcusable. And I know that David Avanesyan and his team or whatever has like kind of complained in reference to that. He could go ahead and go forward with it, but for me, I just felt like, just being honest, I felt like things were questionable leading up to the fight when it came to the event in general. I'm just being straight up now. That's going to be one thing. I have another thing that I kind of heard just a few hours ago that is, but
you're talking about BLK Prime not paying the fighters? I'm sorry. Was I not supposed to say that over the air? Well, I tell you what. On that note, Big James, I'm going to start off the evening by doing a shot of Sweet Amber. This is the first one of the night, and like I said, we have a long way to go with your program, and we're just getting started because we're going to have another show featuring Big James and also my brother Big Frank on Twitter. And whoever else wants to join us.
Oh, man.
And we're going to be drinking all through the night. This is me, getting back into boxing from taking a much-needed break. So here's to you, my man. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, my friend. God bless you, brother.
I wish I had, some drink with me, but I'm about to, chow down on some chicken teriyaki with rice after this. So
right on, man.
But yeah, so there's that. But back to the thing in reference to the State Athletic Commission. Okay. I know that there have been, for those that follow YouTube things and whatnot, as far as like YouTube channels, there have been a couple of things that have kind of like been released in reference to rules and regulations when it comes to the Nebraska State Athletic Commission, right? But for me, one of the things that kind of like stood out leading into this particular bout was when I go into the website for the Nebraska State Athletic Commission, it's like it shouldn't be really no different than most of the sports athletic commissions in different states, whether it's New York, Texas, California, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So they pretty much would have a basic standard of rules and regulations for all combat sports and what they need to do in order for those particular events to be posted on the Nebraska State Athletic Commission. Okay. Now, with that being said, when it came to this particular event, December 10th, one thing that I noticed was that I didn't see it present in their schedule for the Nebraska State Athletic Commission. Never did.
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time, please.
Okay, so when I go to the Nebraska State Athletic Commission, it is to look for things that I see in other state athletic commission websites. What I mean by that is they would have a schedule of combat sporting events that would take place on certain dates. So, for example, if I go to the California State Athletic Commission, I could go there and see the schedule, and it'll be there. If I go to the Nevada State Athletic Commission, I could go to
That's right.
And I could see that they have certain dates that are held for various events, and then they'll have details of that event. So I can do that for California, Nevada, Texas, Arizona, New York, etc. So I do that for the Nebraska State Athletic Commission. Okay. I see MMA events
Yep.
on there. I can see bare knuckle fights that would be posted on there. But when it comes to boxing, there might have been one or two events, but I didn't see an event for December 10th. Okay. So I found that interesting and I found that strange. So I went to another page on that website that deals with permits.
Yeah.
Right? And on that particular page, at the top of the page, it pretty much states that the Nebraska State Athletic Commission does not post any event unless the promoter or the person that is, representing what that event is has all of their permits in order, basically, or so to speak. And for me, I felt like that was very interesting that they had that specified, right? And with that being known, and me not seeing that event on the Nebraska State Athletic Commission, that just was really strange to me. So, when I see the thing where it says boxing permits, it says, quote, before you start to advertise your event, keep in mind that no event is considered for approval until the bond and insurance for the event are on file in the commission office.
Yep.
Those are the words that are on the Nebraska State Athletic Commission website. And so, with me not seeing that particular event on there, 2 + 2 = 4, so I just felt like that was very interesting. Okay. One other thing leading into the fight that I felt was interesting too, and I know that you go through this, Brother Joseph, on multiple occasions and have done so over the course of 20 years plus.
Yep.
That if you're a member of the media, there's usually a certain deadline that is put forth that you apply for events, right?
Yeah, event credential. Yep.
Yep. And so usually that deadline is around a week or so before the fight or the event takes place.
It's usually right before media week. Yeah.
Right before media week. Yep. Okay. For this particular event, a few days before.
Yeah, well, look. You look at the promoters, right? Mm-hmm. Who were the promoters in this event?
Oh, man.
Yeah, you had Steve Bash, who was a California promoter, and he's a regional club promoter. He's a very good attorney, and he's a good guy. Mm-hmm. But does he even have a promotional license in Nevada? Or in Nebraska, rather? Mm-hmm. And who's listed as the other promoter? Desmond Gums?
Desmond Gums, yes.
Okay, he's obviously the proprietor, the president of BLK Prime.
Right.
Okay. Once again, you're talking about experience here. Why do you think Top Rank stopped staging events in Nebraska? Even though that's the only place that Terence Crawford consistently can sell tickets.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And what do you think about what do you think of the rumor also that, boy, they papered the place just to get a healthy crowd there?
I've heard that. That's one of the things that, that we.
I heard from a very reliable source that, they papered the place. Mm-hmm. Right. And that second or third party ticket sales were terrible. And they ended up giving away a lot of tickets. But that's once again, man, it provided a great atmosphere for the pay-per-view. And I will say this for BLK Prime. The pay-per-view went off without a hitch. They hired a very good crew for production. They hired a very good crew for commentary. In my opinion, that was A+. I thought it was a very slick, very good presentation. And you can tell they put a lot of money into that.
Right.
But in terms of regulation, yeah, man, this is why Top Rank no longer, even knowing that Terence Crawford was predominantly a ticket seller in Omaha. right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think they stopped staging events there? One, they couldn't charge decent ticket prices so they could actually make money.
Right.
And two, yeah, you're talking about amateur hour when it comes to regulatory, the state athletic commission, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
the primary reason why.
Now,
Or those were the two biggest reasons why, anyway.
well, with that being said, that might be a key factor as to, why that Benavidez Jr. fight was pretty much the last fight that they, had
Yeah.
for it.
I mean, look at this. Look, they're talking about, it's 14,000. How much you think was made from that gate? Keep in mind, they probably gave away quite a few tickets, but even if they didn't, even if everyone was a paying head, how much do you think they probably made because of the ticket prices having to be reasonable in a metropolitan area like Omaha, Nebraska? How much do you think they netted?
Not that much. Let me see. I mean, I'll
tell you, it's more than likely between 400,000 and 500,000. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Because I mean, like you said, those prices were, not that high, as it is.
And let me ask you something else. Let me ask you this also. This is something to ponder on, right? Mm-hmm. So, did you get that BLK Prime press release?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm looking at a couple of releases like that.
They're beating their chests and they're shouting from the rooftops that it was a huge success.
Yeah, the one after. Okay, yeah, I got that.
Okay, so if they're paying Terence Crawford the kind of money that most people seem to think, how could they actually deem that as a success? When I guarantee you it didn't do anything over 12,000 purchases.
And this is
at a $40 price point.
At a $40 price point, and this is through BLK Prime, and also, like I said, with integrated sports pay-per-view. Okay, so there's that. And
now here's the problem: the people that I usually get the numbers from, right? He's an entertainment lawyer from California, right? Who goes by the numbers of the antiquated cable and satellite distribution method. So I have no way of knowing. I've already contacted him. He's like, dude, if it's a streaming site, I have no way of knowing that. That's their business, and that's not what I do, right? So they only went through those specific channels to sell this pay-per-view. And so if they're paying Terence Crawford the kind of money that they claim to, or people claim that they're paying him, how is it a stark success? Now, maybe the event was a success critically, but commercially, dude, that was a huge flop. That was a dog with fleas.
Right.
Like, are they prepared to lose a ton of money? Because it's funny, and you know this, you know so many promoters who try and come into the business of boxing and reinvent the wheel. How successful and how long is their tenure in boxing? On average.
Yeah, they don't last long. I mean,
maybe a couple years, because let me tell you, man, in this business, look at Rock Nation, look at America Presents back in the day. Look, and I know this is a different era where, streaming seems to be the future of boxing. But if you're reliant on pay-per-view exclusively, right? And once again, this isn't a streaming site like Disney Plus or ESPN Plus, where you just pay something every month. They're going by the pay-per-view, antiquated pay-per-view model, in which they're hoping to make back all their money in one night, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you consider that piracy is the biggest dilemma concerning the business of boxing, how much do you think they lost that night?
Oh, it's a good amount. It's a very good amount. And, like you said, in reference to, the box office, when you get the information on that, and they say the ticket started at least $50 and the max went to $500,
that's nothing.
Yeah,
That's nothing.
Like I'm telling folks about Gervonta Davis versus Hector Luis Garcia at the Capital One Arena.
Yep.
That's
Dude, that's like night and day. That's like night and day, dude. That's like night and day.
Definitely night and day. You know?
Yeah. Look, and you already know that the under. Oh, by the way, is this and from what I'm hearing, is this accurate? That even though someone else is going to be listed as the actual promoter, right? I think it's Tom Brown, right? Who's going to be listed as the actual promoter for this event.
Right.
But am I hearing this right? That Showtime, okay, not technically, but they're actually the lead promotion on this event? Steven Espinosa?
I don't know.
Now, once again, you're according to the Athletic Commission, right? You're not going to see it that way.
Right.
Okay. You're going to see Tom Brown Promotions. But is this Steven Espinosa and Al Heyman's brainchild together?
I'm not sure.
And how do you think Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe feel about all this?
I don't know if they're really feeling that much about it because, I mean, the plan is to have a couple of fighters from Mayweather Promotions included in the extended card. So they might have, some fighters that will be, on there, in conjunction with, Tom Brown Promotions, GTD Promotions and that type of thing too. But as far as like that, thing with Showtime actually having a promotional, like say a promotional license, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
Having a promotional license, I'm not.
Well, PBC, Al Heyman doesn't have a promotional license. He depends on a lot of different promoters. Lately, though, the past several years, it's just been Tom Brown exclusively.
Tom Brown, yes.
But come on. He was the one who was the promoter. Come on. Everyone knows this. And this is, okay, from what I've been told, yeah, Showtime is the lead on this. This is their baby.
Well,
Steven Espinosa, yeah. And you can reaffirm that, brother.
Yeah, I have to confirm that because that isn't something that came up in my conversation with Steven Espinosa last week after the press conference. So,
look, and it seems that these networks lately are the real promoters.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Look, they're the ones who have these exclusive deals with these promoters, and why?
Yep.
They're the ones who are real, like all of this BS with Eddie Hearn and DAZN. Oh, DAZN has the deepest pockets. Well, maybe. Okay, but they're blank check. There's days of the blank checkbook for anything that Eddie Hearn wants to do. Those days are long gone.
Gone.
Okay. So Showtime, seeing that, well, they need these events to be successful. They're taking a more active role in what goes on their network.
Okay. Yeah. I can understand that. Given what has happened over the past, I would say 6 months or so, that they will want to have more of a hand as to, what happens with these events, making sure that these events, take place without much of a hitch at all.
Yep.
Because particularly with Showtime, I'll give you a quick example here before I, jump back to the Crawford thing. Jake Paul, remember?
Yep.
He was supposed to have a fight, that was supposed to be on Showtime, and it ended up, going out the window. That was supposed to be around August, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So,
with Hasim Rahman Jr. Yeah.
Hasim Rahman Jr. And we pretty much knew about that while you had Danny Garcia versus Jose Benavidez Jr. at the Barclays Center in late
That's
July.
right.
So it's like they're investing money, lots of money into an event like that, and also taking away a time slot for them to have Showtime programming to be on there. So it's like,
that's it.
Hey, we're taking this block of time that's pretty much like a prime time on the weekend in the evening for you to have an event, and it doesn't happen in that particular case with Jake Paul and Hasim Rahman. So they're like, you know what? We need to have some type of insurance on this. So let's see if we could have more of a say or be more involved in what happens with these events. So
That's it.
when this
That's
was
it.
put
You
in
got
place
it, man.
January 7th, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Stephen Espinosa and representatives from Showtime Sports had their hands on what happens with that event from start to finish.
Yep.
You know?
That's it. From what I was told, that's it. That's it exactly. You summed it up perfectly.
So with that going on, and that just pretty much says that they're gonna be gung ho, from this point forward on that, as far as like being involved with events when it comes to Showtime Championship Boxing or Showtime After Dark and things like that. But before I go back into the Crawford-Avanesyan topic, I want to add in another guest, one guest that has dropped in some great stuff. I was, there alongside him in coverage of the events at the Madison Square Garden, but he had dropped some great info to me earlier today, and that is YSM Sports Media's Jamil. What's going on, man?
What's up, brother Jamil?
What's good with you?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm chilling, man. Hey, I don't know if y'all heard the news, but Terence Crawford, his fans are saying, "Oh man, that news is fake. Crawford got paid."
Look, guys, I told you a long time ago that $10 million guarantee was bogus. I told you that just because I know two of the guys that worked with the promotion, and yeah, he got a decent guarantee, but it was progressive based. Now, keep in mind, if the rumors are true, and I have no way of knowing this, but if it did anywhere between 12 and 15,000 purchases only at a $40 price point, yeah, he only got the guarantee and nothing on the back end because, guys, that's between $500,000 and $600,000 generated only. That's it. I mean, so Jamil, maybe you can actually shed some light on this. What was the genesis of the what a stark success this promotion was and this event was? How can they claim that?
What you got to understand is you got to understand corporate lingo.
Yeah,
right?
so are they talking critically? Because critically, yes, it was a huge success. I love the pay-per-view. The production was on point. The commentary was on point. It was very professionally done, very slick. But commercially, come on now. They bled money.
Joe, corporate lingo in saying that is, first off, it's very vague. Okay, it did better than what you expected. Did it do better economically or did it do better production-wise?
See, I'm thinking they meant critically, that from a production and presentation perspective, that yes, it far exceeded their expectations.
But wait, like you said, expectations, right?
Yes, that's a very right.
So if I expected 10,000 buys and I got 15, it did better than what I expected. What was your threshold of expectations?
That's a very, very good point. Yep.
Yeah, like who knows what their expectations were as far as like how many people would purchase this event.
Well, then what's their modus operandi?
Oh, I know what it would. Okay.
So what's their MO if they're spending all of this money, right? Quote unquote, spending all this money, and their expectations are so low. What's their MO? What's their end game?
All right, what you have to understand is this, right? And I understand this part. How much in advertisement? How much in advertising would you have to pay to launch BOK Prime to the masses?
Millions.
Millions upon millions.
I probably say on a world class, like say the campaign that Fox Sports and ESPN did for Fury versus Wilder 2. They spent over $10 million promoting that event.
Okay. Did they succeed in getting the name BOK Prime out there by securing the Terence Crawford fight?
I don't think so, because you didn't really see it. No, here's why. Other than boxing websites, Did you see this fight advertised anywhere else?
No.
Exactly.
Well,
so for that kind of money,
Instagram.
Wow, Instagram. No, I'm talking about
whoa,
any other
whoa.
mainstream media, right?
Do not sneer at Instagram.
Oh, I'm not sneering the importance of any social media outlet, but when you look at return, okay, brother, I didn't see it on any other major media outlet.
But Joe, what I'm saying is, I don't think they expected a return. I think they expected that everybody know that the purpose of advertising is for everybody to know the name and to hopefully subscribe. Okay.
Yep.
Do you think they would have gotten more subscribers based off of the content that they had? I hope you did. You actually looked at the website before the fight. Based off the content that they had, would they've gotten more subscribers by advertising?
They were all just club shows, yeah.
Yeah, on major platforms, as opposed to what they did.
You know, for the money that they spent, how many people? Now, once again, are they charging per month, like most subscription-based platforms?
Yes, to my knowledge, it's what, $5 a month, right, Jack?
Yeah, around like $5 or something a month. There for like the.
Okay, so how many do they have after the event?
I don't know, but let's just say they have 15. If it did 15,000, now they have 15,000 new subscribers.
Okay. So
based off of the content, based off of the content that they had previously, would they have gotten those 15,000 subscribers with advertising and mainstream platforms?
Of course not.
Of course not.
All right, so their subscription plan is $3.99 a month.
$3-4. Not bad.
$3.99 a month. Okay. So after this event, how many people are going to continue subscribing? Especially if they're charging, especially if they're basing their next event on a customary antiquated pay-per-view model. Like Broner versus Red Catch on February 18th.
Broner versus Red Catch, February 18th.
Joe, it's an excellent pay-per-view. Broner versus Red Catch?
Oh,
that
of course. That's a
that
blockbuster. Those aren't two shot fighters.
Oh, my God.
Of course. That's a blockbuster, man. So, goodness. So, once again, I'm asking you, Jamil, what is the end game here?
Okay. So, when you said how many are going to keep their subscriptions, I'm going to say majority because people forget to unsubscribe at least for the first month. And because it's so cheap that I'm going to give it 2 months before people forget to unsubscribe.
Because it's like,
I do it all the time.
$4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do it. I do it all the time, Joe. You can't say that you don't do it.
Yeah, hey, listen. With
the free trial, with the 7-day free trial, and you slip up, and you bad as shit. You're like, damn.
Yeah, you know what? I've been guilty of that before. That's a very good point, brother. And I don't know it. I don't know it. Especially if it's something as insignificant and as unnoticeable as $3.99. I won't find out and realize it until maybe 5 or 6 months down the road. And I'll be like, what the hell is this?
That's a good point, Lefty. That's a good point. The 15,000 pay-per-views, it might not have all been on the app because they had they had regular terrestrial pay-per-views, right?
So Jamil, James, can we pull up Chicken Talk's latest question? That's a very good question.
Oh, this one here?
Yeah.
Do you have to subscribe in order to buy the pay-per-view?
Lefty, you should know that. I was at the Teo fight, so I get an excuse. Right? I was working, okay?
Yeah.
Lefty, you should have been supporting pound for pound #1.
No, to the best of my knowledge, no.
No, you didn't.
No, dude. That's my point.
It's still on the website. It says the event is not included with regular subscriptions below. So,
that's my point. Thank you.
Yeah.
God damn it, Joe! I'm trying to shoot him some bail. I know they lost tens of millions of dollars.
Well, look. My point is, yeah, they lost money. Yeah, they lost millions of dollars, but it's not nearly as much. Look, Jamil, you know as well as I, brother, that it wasn't a $10 million guarantee. You know as well as I that it wasn't a $10 million. Two people that I know of that are going to remain unnamed, who is involved in the promotion, insist to me that he got a much healthier guarantee than what's being promoted, but it wasn't $10 million.
Listen, I know it wasn't 10 million.
Of course. Okay, so even with that said, now think about this. If it was 15,000, if it was even 20,000, yeah, that still doesn't result in even $1 million generated from pay-per-view sales at a $40 price point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they lost their ass. And to be honest with you, I still am questioning what's the end game here. From a non-ticket seller outside of Omaha, Nebraska, like Terence Crawford. And once again, I don't mean to be crass and I don't mean to be rude. It simply is what it is. The truth doesn't care what anyone's feelings are. It simply is what it is. And that's my only point in bringing this up. So when you sign a non-ticket seller like Terence Crawford and you pay him an inflated purse for what this event brings, and then you sign a healthy ticket seller in the twilight of his career, okay, and you sign him a multi-million-dollar contract.
Whoa, I got to stop you right there. You got to
let's hear it.
You got to add the part that he's shaped like a Colombian drug lord.
What?
Yes.
Oh, geez. Oh, my gosh. Okay. So it looks like he's coming into this fight as a cruiserweight, right? You know what? I would be much happier in having a rematch with the cruiserweight or heavyweight like Marcos Maidana and not Ivan Redkach, who in his most recent event in the ring on Triller, he took a dive. Who's going to purchase this thing?
And the thing is, and I kind of like feel kind of bad because it's under the promotional banner of Christy Martin. You know,
Christy Club Show Martin.
Yeah, Christy.
Oh, don't say that. I love Christy Martin, but yeah, she's Hold on. Can you pull up Chicken Talk's last question, please?
Yeah. Here we go. Come on there. Why did Steve Bash leave the promotion the week before the fight?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why when I saw it there, I was like, what? Ooh.
You know what? Honestly, this is news to me, but I'll call him tomorrow. Thank you for bringing this up to me, Lefty. I appreciate it, brother. I'll find out tomorrow, brother. Because once again,
Lefty started some shit.
Look, yeah, he did, and I'm going to find out tomorrow, brother. And I promise you, we'll go live tomorrow night, brother, and I'll give you the answer. Because Steve Bash, say what you want about him, he's a very good guy. For him to leave the promotion, in my opinion, well, you already know the answer. If you're asking the question, Lefty, you already know the answer. It was amateur hour, brother. And they probably want him to expend his own pockets, expenses out of his own pockets, when he was basically doing them a favor. If I had to guess, I would say that's what it is. Just my experience in the business.
Well, that's one, but it also is the other thing too. When you were talking about the stuff about Nebraska, the state of Nebraska and their athletic commission, you know what they've been.
Well, no. Here's the primary reason, and it has to do with the financials, right? So Jamil, Lefty, you already know. What is the state athletic commission? What do they demand to see in terms of compensation for their fighters? Who's cutting the check usually in a promotion of this nature? They want to see a check changing hands from the promoter to the fighter.
First, you got to have a bond, right, Joe?
Well, of course, it has to be bonded and insured. Now, once again, not just for the fighters getting paid, but also for the medicals as well. That has to be a given. In order for an event to happen, that has to be a given. But I guarantee you, good old attorney Steve Bash had a problem cutting checks out of his own account when he probably wasn't getting compensated for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because once again, the state athletic commissions, they have to see the money change hands from the lead promoter to the fighter. They have to sign off on it. And I don't. And once again, I'm almost certain that that's what Steve Bash had a problem with. That's probably why he backed out.
To my knowledge, they sign the checks and then they give the checks to the sanctioning body. I'm sorry, the state athletic commission. The state athletic commission holds on to the checks until fight night.
That's
Tell
usually
me I'm wrong, Joe.
No, that's usually protocol, brother. That customarily that's protocol.
Yep.
So I'll find out for sure tomorrow, guys. Okay, tomorrow morning, come 10 a.m. my time, 8 a.m. Pacific. That's going to be the first call that I make.
Yeah,
I'll find out, guys.
You know, one of the things that I tried to find out over the previous couple of days was the thing there through the Nebraska State Athletic Commission and the the contact for the Nebraska State Athletic Commission in reference to the event in general and what was going on there. But with what they were talking about and what I said earlier in reference to the event itself. And I talked about what was on the website for the Nebraska State Athletic Commission, and it's shown there. It says, before you start to advertise your event, keep in mind that no event is considered for approval until the bond and insurance for the event are on file in the commission office. And I was like, well,
yeah. Well, look, in moving forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, they're gonna have to rectify all of this. And once again, welcome to the business of boxing, BLK Prime. Okay, welcome to the business of boxing. If you don't have money to burn and you don't have talent, you don't have TV dates in which a network is paying for the expensive main events.
Mm-hmm.
Best of luck to you.
Yep.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, and the thing there is, did the Nebraska State Athletic Commission release the fighters' pay? That was pretty much the second topic in reference to this. Mm-hmm. And that was the report that I had heard earlier today that not everybody got, or the pay got released. There's a reason for that. Jamil, you already know why. Hey, Jamil, explain that one, and I'm going to step away for a second to take a Veda test very quickly, okay? So, Jamil, this floor is yours, my friend.
Hey, Joe. This is like, so, Jay.
Yeah.
Me and you, we talked about this earlier, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All signs are pointing that this wasn't sanctioned by the Nebraska State Athletic Commission. Everything is pointing.
Like, and this was my thing, immediately after the event, right? Since, we were there over in New York City and everything like that, we couldn't watch this event live. So my thing was, and I kind of like asked this question around, I said, for the main event, when you had the pre-fight introductions, they usually tell you, okay, this is for the WBO Welterweight Championship of the World, sanctioned by such and such and such. I wanted to know if that was actually announced. Well, but Lefty here says, they say, well, the commission was ringside. So, there's that. Oh, okay. Oh, and Lefty also sent me this stuff in reference to the thing for Steve Bash. That was, yes, confirmed by Ron Katz that he dropped out of the event before it happened.
Hey, Left. Normally it's on the State Athletic Commission's website. And you talking about the biggest event in Nebraska in years since what, the Gamboa fight? So you're telling me that that's not on the State Athletic Commission website that they're having this fight and that they're holding this fight at the Shy, which is Creighton University, their arena, which holds about 20,000? It seems odd to me. I don't know. I'm light-skinned. I don't know.
So, Jamil, I missed something. Did you address the fighters' pay yet?
No, we kind of talked about
No, you're not going to talk about that. You don't want to open up about that on JR's channel. You'd rather keep a tight lip on that.
Joe,
well,
Joe, go ahead 1 second.
Well, hold on. Well, especially when let me see here. Especially when there's tweets going out from like very large media outlets that kind of get on what was happening. When you have a post that says, "Hey, all money ain't good money." Yep. Especially when you don't get it all. But that's the thing. But in reference to the stuff, I had the link. I thought I had the link because one thing that I do, being a web guy and a web head, is that there's something there that's called the web archive or the Wayback Machine. And what that does is that gives screenshots or pretty much, historical recollections of a web page at certain dates throughout the year or throughout its existence. So that is what I looked up in reference to that particular page when it had the list of events. And hey, I did not see it on there. And to not see it on there is really weird, But it kind of like goes to what I've been, looking at over the course of the previous 6 weeks plus, is that with them not having that event on the Nebraska State Athletic Commission website, that's where I, brought up the question of, okay, was this actually fully approved by the Nebraska State Athletic Commission? Now, Lefty did say that they were in attendance there, but Well, look. I will say this. It's a very touchy subject, right? Yeah.
Look, BLK Prime, they can't use the antiquated cable and satellite distribution method response saying, hey, we're still waiting on money to come in, because if it's a streaming process, it should be instantaneous. So BLK Prime can't say, oh, we're still counting money, we're still waiting on money to get in. They can't use that excuse. So,
but Joe, didn't they had a certain amount of pay-per-view buys, or
it should be
what platform was it on under, JR?
What do you mean, a promotional platform or?
Yeah, they had a terrestrial platform that they also were showing the fight on. Was it Dish?
That's Integrated Sports.
Integrated Sports?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the only exception. Okay, because if it's a streaming service, and not being distributed by anything else but Integrated Sports, that usually is instantaneous, right? That's usually instantaneous. They don't have to wait until people pay their cable bills. It's usually instantaneous. Okay, so that can't be used then as an excuse in this scenario. So what's up with paying the fighters? Okay, that's all I'm going to say about this. Until I know more, I can't expound on this. But Jamil, brother, come on now.
Joe,
come on now, man.
Hey, yo, I would like to recuse my. See, Joe knows when I'm holding back. I would like to recuse myself.
Okay, so you're pleading the fifth. That's all right. Yeah. You know what? For the most for the most part, until I know more information and can call around, I'm going to plead the fifth as well. But that's all I'm saying. Okay. So this excuse of waiting for people, for the money to come in, that's a load of shit. That's hogwash.
I'm going to reach out to Desmond for a quote tomorrow.
Very good. Now reach out to Mr. Bash as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
so I tell you what. Are we still talking about the Crawford situation, or do you want to talk about other events that happened this? Because I have an interesting fact or fiction that I'll give you guys.
All right.
If you want to make that segue.
Yeah, let's go ahead and make that segue.
Okay, and since Jamil was at this event, this will be all right. Okay, so here's fact or fiction number one. This is for both of you guys. Let's go with our gracious host first, JR. Number one, fact or fiction, Eddie Hearn is indeed correct when he makes the claim Teofimo Lopez is regressing as a fighter. End quote. Fact or fiction? Thank you, brother.
Facts.
Oh! You can't just say fact on this. Come on now, you know the game. You have to expound as to why or why not.
Okay, so while in attendance and taking pictures at the event for Teofimo Lopez versus Sandor Martin, I saw.
Oh, wait a minute. Were you actually allowed on the ring apron as a photographer?
Oh, not on the ring apron. No.
Oh, okay. Never. As you were that, I was about to congratulate you because that's a very difficult assignment to get.
They got Mikey Williams and his team all over.
And most mainstream outlets. Yeah. So I'm sorry, as you were, brother.
So what I saw over the course of that bout was a guy in Teofimo Lopez that had the footwork of being an aggressor, but not the hands of being an aggressor, and was very reluctant to initiate his offense against Sandor Martin. It was more about him being an aggressor with his feet, but being a counterpuncher with his actual hands. And that does not, look good as a fighter for one. Now, the other thing is, when you have Teofimo Lopez Sr. as your trainer and that doesn't see things happening and makes adjustments on the fly, then you're pretty much just going in there fighting by yourself, So for me, he's regressing as a fighter, and it's going to be really interesting to see what his next fight is going to be, because if he fights the likes of a Josh Taylor, a Regis Prograis, or even a Jose Ramirez.
Well, I will say this. Jose Ramirez is a completely different style matchup, and one that Teofimo may flourish when faced with, right? Because he's always been a pocket counterpuncher by trade. Look, if you go back and look against lesser opponents, guys who aren't on his athletic level, he's been able to get away with being or seemingly given the perception of being the effective aggressor, but he's not that guy. Okay, so I'm going to pose this same fact or fiction now. Oh, no, I'll give a different one to Jamil. But let me just tell you, like there's a ton of ignorance being floated around and a lot of hatred being thrown at Teofimo Lopez that I can't stand, right? And the reason why I will say that you're right when stating fact, when you look at his footwork against Vasyl Lomachenko, a southpaw and a much craftier one than Sandor Martin, he was able to, with his footwork, cut off those escape routes, not allowing Lomachenko to pivot to his right. That made it a much easier fight. Why didn't he do that against Sandor Martin? And you hit the nail on the head with bringing up Teofimo Sr. because, damn it, if you don't practice it in the gym, it's not going to show up in the fight.
Right.
So I agree with you. It would give the perception that he's regressing as a fighter, but come on. He's never been an effective aggressor, and that should have been made apparent when he failed to try and cut off the ring intelligently behind a high guard. Anyone who's an effective aggressor fights behind the high guard. Look, even Floyd Mayweather, who is a complete fighter, when he faced Zab Judah and had to take the lead, what did he use to cut off the ring and close the distance effectively? He used the high guard. the earmuff defense. Even he knew that. And why? Because not only did he have Roger Mayweather in his corner, giving him that tutelage, he was an offensive-minded fighter. But he also had the defensive master, who is Floyd Sr., who doesn't get enough credit to this day. Two brilliant, knowledgeable fighters, right? And then couple that with the athletic specimen that Floyd Jr. was. Blessed with those reflexes, he was the ultimate fighting machine. So if anyone thinks and is ultra critical on Teofimo Lopez, oh, well, Floyd Jr. did it, that's just not being fair. So I will say that he's regressed, and I will say you're right when you state that, and you're right also when you say he's not going to progress from this point forward unless he gets another trainer.
That's right.
Okay?
Wait. I'm going to disagree.
All right, let's hear it.
I don't think he has regressed. I think that it's a style matchup. Vasyl Lomachenko doesn't fight off the back foot. Vasyl Lomachenko comes forward and uses angles. But Vasyl Lomachenko is not a back foot counterpuncher.
I will say this, though, Jamil. The success that Teofimo Lopez had in the first half of the fight was predominantly because he was able to apply pressure, cutting off those escape routes. What happened to the damn footwork?
Wait.
Look, that's the only reason why I'm agreeing with JR.
I don't even think it was the footwork. He did something that had nothing to do with footwork. He kept throwing a check hook out there that kept Loma from escaping. And being that he was the much bigger man, when Loma caught it on his glove, I think it might have, shook Loma's body. Like Teofimo Lopez, like you said, he doesn't apply pressure with a high guard. He applies pressure in a back foot stance.
Yep.
Whereas the
where he's still looking to counter.
Down,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's supposed to be applying pressure in a counter back foot stance.
Yep.
In what world is that going to be successful?
None. Zero. Zilch. Look, there's so much that and it's a damn shame. And you know what you can say? Shame on everyone in that camp for not making the most of the obvious athletic and natural gifts that Teofimo Lopez seemed to have. Look, this guy is an athletic stud. He has the potential to be a great fighter. He's already accomplished so much. Why are you going to limit him to that? It almost seems like he's one of these guys who played high school football and 30 years later, they're still wearing the varsity jacket. You can't hang your hat on what's happened 2-3 years ago. You can't do it if you want to be great.
Joe,
yep.
Name a guy that he fought that could move. George Kambosos isn't fast, but George can move a little bit. Sandor Martin isn't fast, but can move a little bit.
Well, once again, you're talking about George Kambosos, who stood from mid to long range and forced the A side to be the aggressor. And let me just warn you guys on some things to come. Frank Martin's going to have this same problem this Saturday night. Okay, we'll touch on that a little bit later, but Frank Martin's going to experience that same issue this Saturday. Because do you really think Michelle Rivera is going to, be very sporting and give Frank Martin that advantage and take the lead? No, he's not going to. Now, so here's the problem. When you're Teofimo Lopez and you're the A side, obvious A side, you're the ticket seller, you're the guy, the network favorite. Okay, in comes a guy from Spain, a non-ticket seller. No one gives a shit about him in the States. He's going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to fight my fight. You have to make me fight your fight, and I'm not going to do a damn thing differently. Mikey Garcia experiences the same thing. You've got a very crafty boxer-puncher who's got very good footwork, a very good counter-puncher. The only reason why Teofimo didn't lose here is because Sandor Martin doesn't have very much crack in his shot. In my opinion, That's the primary reason why he got the victory, because it was a very competitive fight in which, yeah, you could make a case for Sendo Martin actually coming away the victor.
Yo,
Yeah, one judge did.
I'm gonna say this. He leads in like we said earlier. He leads in with the left hand down, and he's getting caught with right check hooks.
Yep.
Right?
So what does that tell you, Jamil? You've been in the gym with so many smart guys. That tells you that he doesn't work on anything else but that in the gym. He doesn't work on being the aggressor. Look.
This is for JR. Wait. This is for you and JR. I'm going to ask you. Teofimo Lopez, explosive, gifted fighter. Is his success a product of two Hall of Famers, Bruce and Brad, matching him?
No, I will say this, because if that were the case, okay, and here's the problem. You're like thinking, this is a terrible style matchup, albeit it's a last-minute replacement from Jose Pedraza.
Okay, it might have been worse if it was Pedraza.
Oh, yeah.
No. I don't think so, because in my opinion, Pedraza takes more chances. Okay, he's got more balls than Martin. Let's just put it out there. Martin, okay, let's okay, not only does he not have a lot of crack in his shot, but he doesn't take as many chances and let his hands go as Pedraza. So in my opinion, those are the two primary reasons why Teofimo Lopez got the victory. Okay? So Pedraza, in my opinion, would have taken more chances. He would have actually let his hands go more frequently, not just look for that one clean shot. It was obvious that Martin was looking for those clean counters, and that wasn't enough to sway the judges at ringside, because there were very few and far in between. Right?
But my thing with Teofimo Lopez is him coming in as an aggressor, and he doesn't throw any type of jab while he's coming forward.
Oh, geez. Dude, he doesn't fight behind the high guard. He doesn't work behind an intelligent jab using feints. Okay, that's a huge problem if he's going to be faced with these assignments moving forward. So you can say Bruce and Brad, okay, if they were really looking to match him up, one, it's not in their best interest, because look, Teofimo has a ton of potential, but he's not a big ticket seller. But Promotions 101, Jamil, protect your ticket sellers. Okay, he's not there yet.
Not a bad ticket. He's not a bad ticket seller.
No, but he's not a good one yet.
He's not great.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he had about 8,000. What would you say, Jay?
Yeah, it was a shade over 8,000 was the attendance at that.
Wait a minute. Was it the big room or was it in the Hulu Theater?
It was the big room. They had him in the big room.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
guys, for a cavernous venue that holds 22,000, $8,000 isn't very good. That tells you all you need to know. So you're like, okay, we have no choice. They're like Promotions 101. Okay, if the guy is not a big ticket seller, you have no choice but to try and stick him in tough to increase his market value. Okay, so this is a problem. So your idea of saying, okay, well, Teofimo's reputation was built on crafty matchmaking from Brad and Bruce. That's not, unless you're already a ticket seller, that's not the reality.
Okay. Think
here's one
that he was matched against, Joe.
Yes,
Who did he face?
That's right. When you look at Richard Comey, that style is tailor-made for Teofimo Lopez. When you look at Magdaleno, tailor-made for Teofimo Lopez. This is a guy who feasts on aggressive-minded fighters. But guys who like to fight you from mid to long range, guys who are boxer punters, and guys who Emmanuel Stewart used to call cutie pies. They don't like to fight in the trenches. They like to box you from mid to long range. Those are stylistic nightmares for Teofimo. Just like Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia's always been a counterpuncher by trade. How did it look when he faced a guy who is a taller, rangier man, okay, fighting from mid to long range, and you're the A side? This is a problem. for Teofimo Lopez. If he wants to be the A side, oh shit, the onus is on me to have to produce the action of the fight. I'm going to have to force action. That's a problem, and that's what went wrong on Saturday night.
And the thing about it is that was what this was built for him to be, originally. Like, he was coming in, he had Madison Square Garden. This was something Heisman night. He headlines Madison Square Garden on Heisman night. So all the spotlight is on him, for that night. And so he's the one that all the eyes are, viewing towards, whether it's in attendance or on ESPN, that they're like, hey, okay, this is a guy that is supposed to, do some things. He's did this on ESPN on Heisman nights before. So they're expecting something big from Teofimo Lopez.
That's a lot of pressure on Teofimo Lopez. And once again, going back almost a decade now, to Nonito Donaire versus Guillermo Rigondeaux, right? Nonito was the obvious HBO A-side. Okay, he's a counterpuncher by trade. What happened when Guillermo Rigondeaux wasn't budging from his game plan? Was standing there from mid to long range, waiting for Nonito to come forward. If the crowd starts booing, and they did several times,
yeah, they did.
Where's that? Who puts the pressure? Who does that put the pressure on? The A side, Nonito Donaire. So he uncharacteristically had to move forward, and that was ultimately his demise. Teofimo Lopez just experienced the Nonito Donaire effect, having to take the lead when he didn't want to and wasn't prepared to do it. And that was why the fight played out the way it did. Jamil, I've got a fact or fiction for you, brother. Are you ready?
Yep.
Fact or fiction, here it comes. Josh Taylor or Regis Prograis will KO Teofimo Lopez at 140 pounds if they fight in 2023. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Wow. Is it because of what we've been talking about, the style matchup as well?
Yep.
Oh, shit. Oh, boy.
All right. It looks to be fairly unanimous. So we got another answer on the here.
Well, I will say this. Look, hey. JR, I will say this. If Teofimo Lopez isn't going to take measures to add those new wrinkles to his fight game, i.e. becoming the more effective, intelligent aggressor, then he's going to have to stand his ground and force his opponents to come at him.
Word. Hey, real quick, I got another guest coming in here from the Bronx. White man paperwork is in the building.
Yo, what's good, JR? How you doing today, man?
Yo,
you like my new avatar?
What is this, man?
Is that a kick in the gut or a kick in the cannolis?
You got to use your imagination. But it's such an honor to be on with you guys, man. We got all the boxing luminaries here. We got YSM, the man in Philly, a.k.a. Jamil, my guy right there. We got Joseph Heron, who I remember from my old Facebook group, Boxing Updates, many years ago. Back when I
how you doing, Matthew?
Used
it's
to help
a pleasure to talk
group.
to you again, my friend.
Pleasure to talk to you too, my buddy. But what have you guys touched on so far today? I'm curious. What did we get into?
Well, we have already went in depth about, the events that took place on Saturday night over in Omaha, Nebraska.
Glovegate Part 2?
Stop it, man. Stop it. Oh,
Justice for Deontay Wilder. We tried to tell y'all, man. We tried to tell y'all.
Chingo. No.
I knew it.
Hey, on that note, Matthew, James, Jamil, I'm gonna do my second shot of Sweet Amber. Here's to all of you guys. Guys, it is a pleasure to share the air with all of you. I respect all of you guys, very knowledgeable, and I love your passion for the sport. Keep doing what you do. God bless all of you guys. Merry Christmas to all of you.
And happy Kwanzaa.
God bless you, brother.
Kwanzaa and all the holiday stuff.
And
remember, y'all, we got more boxing talk later on down the line through Warwick Radio Network.
Yes, and Matthew, please don't be a stranger, brother. Come on to Warwick Radio. We're going live in about 45 minutes, brother.
I'm usually never sober. If that's okay with you, that's
hey,
okay
man.
with me.
Hey, join the club, brother. I'm sucking down some sweet amber tonight, my friend. And hey, look, if you're fond of the drink, you know exactly what sweet amber is,
yes,
brother.
Sir.
Indeed.
Well, tonight is a White Claw night for me.
Oh.
All right. So in Matthew's arrival, let me give you let me get another okay, here's another fact or fiction then.
Okay, let's hear it.
So this is for Matthew exclusively.
Okay.
Fact or fiction. On January 28th, Tim Tszyu will surprisingly give Jermell Charlo some issues in the ring and take him the distance. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Okay, so it's not enough, and let me explain the rules. It's not enough that you just say fact or fiction. You have to explain why or why not supporting your stance.
Because, first of all, I think Jermell Charlo is going to beat the hell out of him.
Jermell.
Yeah. And here's why. Okay. Everything that Terrell Gachet did that gave Tim Tszyu trouble, I almost called him Costa Tszyu. Jesus, I'm getting old. Everything that gave Tim Tszyu trouble, Jermell Charlo does a lot better. Jermell has that hook. He has that jab that he likes to get pumping. And I think Tim Tszyu, his style, that pressure style, is going to play right into Charlo's hands because he's going to be open for a lot of counters. And there is no better counterer at 154 than Jermell Charlo.
You know what? That's a very good response, and I'm in full agreement, brother. In my opinion, I don't know what the hell Tim Tszyu's handlers are thinking. This is way too soon for the very green Tim Tszyu. He's in the immortal words of Teddy Atlas, he's going from the wading pool into the ocean.
Yeah, but this is what he wants to do. Hey, listen, I don't knock the kid. This is what he wants to do. Canelo did this way back when he fought against Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, but look, and look, I was there working with Don Chargan, the senior advisor to Golden Boy, when this happened, right? And I remember telling him, hey, this is not a good fight for Canelo Alvarez. And he told me, look, I don't think it is either. I think it's way too soon for him, but we know he's not going to get embarrassed, and we know he's not going to get knocked out. So we're going to go ahead and let him take this fight. In my opinion, Tim Tszyu doesn't have that same luxury.
Nope.
He runs the risk of getting KTFO'd by a very hard punching, very complete Jermell Charlo.
Hey,
right?
Hey, Matt, you know what you didn't mention, though, that I feel like is going to be the key to this fight?
What is it?
The stab to the body.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All right, so when Tim Tszyu pressures, he has a very upright style. And we all know Charlo has a very, very good stab to the body that sets up the other shots. I feel like he's going to take steam out of Tim Tszyu in the first 3 to 4 rounds. At around round 6, round 7, Tim Tszyu is going to be just a sitting duck.
Yeah.
Hands are going to be low, and he's just going to get caught with just real hard flush shots.
Jamil, can you say that fighting Brian Castano twice leading up to this fight has completely prepared? Like, Tim Tszyu is going to look like a novice. Like, you're talking about Brian Castano, deep amateur background, a guy who applies intelligent pressure. Okay, a complete fighter. Like, he's going from like Brian Castano to Tim Tszyu. Dude, he's gonna whoop Tim Tszyu's ass.
It's gonna be
ugly. And the handlers of Tim Tszyu, and once again, Matthew is right when he says, you know what? Give Tim Tszyu credit for having the balls that he has, but you know what? Balls before brains is never a good thing in boxing. Never. Tim Zoo's look. I loved Kostya Zoo when he was fighting. That guy was a stone cold killer with that straight right hand.
Right.
Tim Zoo is a far cry from King Kostya Zoo. He gonna get his ass whooped, brother.
He's gonna get smoked.
He's gonna get smoked like a cheap cigar, JR.
Well, I can't wait to see it. I'm very excited about this fight, you know.
Okay. So there's that. I'm not sure if you have another fact or fiction, but I do want to go over one other bit of news that comes from this week. Over in Orlando, you have the WBA convention. They celebrate 100 years, but one of the highlights of that particular convention is the purse bid that took place for the fight between Iamana Stanionis and Virgil Ortiz Jr. That fight has been, pretty much done, so to speak, with that purse bid, $2.3 million by Golden Boy.
You know what? That is a tremendous fight, JR. But I will say this. I'm still pissed off about Amantis Stanionis having to fight all of the mandatories, and Errol Spence is just fighting whomever he wants. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And Montes was the next in line. He should have gotten this fight, and that's a great fight.
Well,
I want the Crawford fight.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Look, Crawford fight takes precedence over everything. That's the undisputed unification. Okay, if that fight can't be made, why are we getting Keith Thurman versus Spence?
Are we getting Keith Thurman versus Spence?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are we getting Keith Thurman versus Spence? I'm wondering if Spence is just going to wait it out.
You know what? If he's allowed to, I would. If he's been given that luxury, hell yes. Why would you fight Keith Thurman?
Right.
This is a guy who is once again, he's turned into a non-ticket seller. He's a semi-retired fighter, and you've got nothing to gain from fighting him. He's a guy who's living off of his reputation of what he's done half a decade ago. He used to be a big ticket seller for PBC. Now, why would you fight him? He's a guy who demands too much money and doesn't bring much to the table at this point. If you're given that luxury, and I hope Errol Spence is, then yes, why wouldn't you wait it out and try to make a Crawford fight? But I will say this, Matthew, what is the likelihood of them making a deal? Okay, so here comes fact or fiction number 4. Are you ready?
I think someone else wants to join in on the fact or fiction or whatever it is.
Let's hear it. Let's make it for them. I'll hold it until they come on.
Lazy Lefty in the building.
No, he's not allowed on here.
What's good?
Nah. You're not allowed on here.
I just want to say, look, Spencer started to do interviews, so you know he has a fight coming up. He's got the last stand interview coming up. He started doing interviews. So
boy. That says it all.
But how
says
is
it all,
his leg
Lefty?
after the car accident?
He didn't hurt his leg. It was like scratches and bruises. It wasn't anything serious.
Look. I will say this. I've been involved in several very severe car accidents, and I will say this. Okay, it's a residual effect that you don't know until you do. Okay, so we'll see how Spence feels in camp if there's any residual damage, right? Because he didn't know about his eye, and that was a residual effect from his devastating car accident years prior, right?
Right.
Okay, that wasn't just from a nothing jab in sparring with 18-ounce, 16-ounce gloves, right? That was from the car accident. So we'll have to wait and see. It's a very serious thing. And once again, anyone who thinks this is Errol Spence's fault, they need to go look at the facts. Errol Spence was a victim in this accident. So we'll have to wait and see if he's actually okay to fight. But with that said, Lefty, this one's for you, brother. Here it comes.
right.
Fact or fiction? Are you ready, sir?
Yes, I am.
Here it comes. Eddie Hearn is correct when he states Spence versus Crawford will not happen in 2023 unless Bud signs an advisory deal with Al Heyman. End quote. Fact or fiction?
Fiction. Because the fight's not happening, period. Bud is too strong-headed. He don't even need to sign an advisory deal. He needs to get somebody that with a little bit of business sense to do the deal for him. He doesn't need an advisory deal without him.
Look.
Canelo didn't have to do it.
But Lefty, if he's coming to the table demanding $22 million with an inflated sense of market value, there's no way in Hades that even proper promotion, when he has the final say, proper representation isn't going to matter. This is a guy who has an inflated sense of worth.
True. I mean, and Eddie Hearn also said that, I mean, even the idea of taking a fight over to the UK was preposterous because nobody cares about that fight over there like they care about it over there.
No one gives a shit. Look, and Lefty, look, and once again, this is Terence Crawford. Now, you're right in this aspect. He needs a proper representation, right?
Representation that he trusts. Well, because if he obviously trusted Daniel Kinahan, and if he was still with him, the fight probably would have gotten done. For some reason, he trusts him.
I'll tell you why Eddie Hearn is correct when he says this, right? Because what promoter is going to give a fighter a one-off when he's, one, not a big ticket seller, two, has an inflated sense of market value, and three, is just interested in a fucking one-off, right? Look, what promoter is going to give a big guaranteed purse to a fighter that isn't giving the promoter options on his next 2 or 3 fights? That doesn't happen. Just ask Devin Haney.
Nope, exactly.
Okay, the only reason why he got that fight with Kambosos is because he was willing to play ball and give top-ranked options on his next 3 fights. Eddie Hearn does the same thing. Golden Boy does the same thing. In what universe does a promoter give a fighter a huge guaranteed purse when he doesn't have options on his next several fights?
None.
Exactly.
No.
Even when Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder won, he still had a rematch clause.
That's it. So if it's not beneficial for any, so Al Heyman, it's like he's justified in requesting options on Terence Crawford's next 2 or 3 fights because one, he's asking for the TV dates. How is he getting the TV date without Al Heyman? Okay.
Exactly.
2, he's asking for the opponent. He's asking for Errol Spence Jr., which is under advisement of Al Heyman. Okay. 3, he's asking for that humongous guaranteed purse. It's not going to happen unless it's beneficial to all parties involved. In my opinion, Eddie Hearn, with his knowledge of the business, is right on the money here.
Right. And now I'm gonna do a little bit more on this here, a little bit of overtime. We got another guest coming in here, coming from the chat. Tip Bayless is in the building. What's going on there, Tip? Chatting in here with the Bison Source.
Yo, what's going on, boys?
How you doing, Tip?
Good, Tip.
How's it going?
You know what, man? I'm getting ready to cancel my show, and I'm just willing to stay on here, man, as long as it lasts. This is fun.
Joseph, don't forget to call Steve Bash tomorrow because I want it. You gonna post it?
No. That's I've already noted that on my phone. That's my first call at 10 a.m.
Okay, because I need.
So I'll get that. I'll get that for you. Well, excuse me. I'll get that for you, my friend. But I will say this. Yeah, I think I'm going to cancel my program. I want to stay on here as long as I can. This is fun. And I'll be willing to do my entire fact or fiction, if you'd like, on this show.
I mean, I wish I could, but the thing about it is, like, yeah.
Oh, you've got a time restriction.
Yeah, pretty much got a time restriction.
You've got cold teriyaki chicken looking at you, don't you?
Yeah, I got cold teriyaki chicken looking right at me. You know what I'm saying?
All right, brother. So I'll save it for my program then.
Yeah,
that's
so
fine.
We got a few more minutes. We got Tip Bayless on here joining us here on the Midweek Report for the Bison Source. So, Tip, I know that you were talking about a couple of things on the chat, and one of the things that you mentioned on here that I found interesting is that you said that the Crawford fight still isn't bigger than Spence versus Thurman. Find that interesting.
Nah, it's not.
Can you repeat that, JR? You broke up a little bit.
It says that the Crawford fight with Spence still isn't bigger than Spence versus Thurman.
What?
You don't think so?
Hell no. Now maybe half a decade ago, when Thurman was still a big ratings draw and still a big ticket seller, yes, that fight would have been much bigger because he was he had much greater market value back then. But nowadays, he's a semi-retired fighter who has escaped the consciousness of mainstream and casual audiences.
You don't think Keith Thurman has more of a mainstream audience, more of
like I said, 5 years ago? Yes, I would agree with you.
I still think Keith Thurman's audience is bigger than Crawford's.
No, he's out of sight, out of mind. Like,
yep.
Look,
he's a has-been, brother.
We could just,
at age 33, he's still a has-been. He's a has-been now.
If you even look at Thurman's last pay-per-view numbers against Barrios, he did more than Crawford did in this last fight. That's guaranteed.
Dude, when you look at the promotion and the distribution, keep in mind you're comparing BLK Prime to Fox. Okay, there's no comparison to that. And it did, and once again, I have no way of knowing, but according to estimations, right? You're looking at 15,000 on BLK Prime compared to 29,000 only on the mainstream flagship Fox pay-per-view. And dude, I have those numbers from my guy in California. 29,000 purchases only.
The alleged, from what I heard.
No. I got that from my guy in California who's privy to everything from Girls Gone Wild, to boxing pay-per-views. He's an entertainment lawyer in California.
I heard
he's got it all.
I heard 150.
150, my ass. They wish.
I heard 150.
I'm so
serious. I heard 150.
Dude, Mario Vargas even confirmed that he was under 100, and he wouldn't go any further about that. Okay, and I'm very good friends with everyone in his camp.
Yeah,
so that's a fabrication
in that area in Texas. So there's that. We got, it's gonna be a full house here. You got C3 Tank chiming in here on the Midweek Report. Tank, what you got for us? Like, you there, Tank?
Yeah, it was good. Y'all hear?
Oh, you can hear you, but it's only like a little bit, like, not that much. What you got?
Man, y'all got babies on the show?
No. Hey, Tip Bayless. Hey, brother, how old is your little angel who we can hear on the show, man?
Nah, this is my niece. I think she's going on about a year.
Hey, man, God bless you and Merry Christmas, brother. Because, dude, I wish I had youngins in my house. My son is now 26, and he's a school teacher. I wish he were that age, brother. So God bless you, and have fun taking care of your niece, my friend.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Look, I will say this. I think Keith Thurman, with the correct promotion, can talk their way into around 350 to 400,000 pay-per-view.
Keith Thurman fights are definitely happening, though.
With the correct promotion and Keith Thurman, the way he can talk, they can get it up there.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tip.
I was gonna say, I think even with Keith fighting on BLK Prime, he would have sold more than Crawford. He's just a better promoter all around.
But he's not visible enough. He disappeared.
He's a semi-retired fighter, out of sight, out of mind in any entertainment faction.
Yeah.
In any entertainment field, out of sight, out of mind. He's been semi-retired for the past half decade.
And he doesn't have a rabid fan base like Crawford and like Spence.
Yeah,
who keep those two in the news, even though they're not fighting and they're not talking. You can always find a conversation about Crawford and Spence. You can't always find a conversation about Spence and Thurman or Crawford and Thurman.
Look, and once again, when you're talking about the proper promotion, right? Do you really think that Al Haven and PBC are going to invest millions promoting an event like Keith Thurman Errol Spence Jr.? No. With piracy being what it is, being the biggest problem existing in the business of boxing, they're not going to invest more than $5 million promoting this event. That's not nearly what's necessary in promoting this to the mainstream and casual audiences. That's not going to happen, guys.
Word.
I don't see Keith getting a $10 million guarantee without fighting somebody like Earl.
Man, he'll be lucky to get $1 million.
Anyway,
He'll be lucky to get $1 million these days.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Look, there's a reason why people within this business have dubbed Keith as Once Upon a Time Thurman. Okay, and that's not just me. That's most within this business. Okay, and once again, Keith was a great fighter.
I think he got
Okay,
$1 million
Keith was a
in bar
great
money.
fighter, and I would have loved to have seen this fight in their respective primes, right? 5 years ago. Nowadays, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit. If his claim to fame was losing to Manny Pacquiao in a pay-per-view, okay, good luck. Best of luck to you, brother.
Yeah, it's like Brian that says here, no disrespect, but you can't be out the game for that long. You know, not saying that it's his fault, but I mean it's just what it is. You know.
Yeah, his last significant fight was what, 4 years ago, right? Manny Pacquiao?
Yeah.
Yep. How did he do in pay-per-view against
I think that was
against
half a million. That
No,
was
it
half a
wasn't
million.
4. It was 2. It was 2
Oh
years.
my
No,
gosh,
it was
dude.
about
You got to
3
be
years ago.
kidding me.
What the
Let's see.
No. I'm not talking about Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao. I'm talking about Manny Pacquiao. And this is Manny Pacquiao. This is what a detriment piracy has become to the business of boxing. I'm talking about him versus, his name eludes me, the Cuban, the crafty Cuban. What's his name?
Yordenis Ugas.
Yeah, Yordenis Ugas. Right?
Like,
what were his pay-per-view
275?
numbers?
Like 200, 275 or something?
Nope. I've got the actual numbers. 129,000.
Oh, okay. Well,
This is Manny Pacquiao. This is the Manny Pacquiao versus Yordenis Ugas. 129,000. That's it. That's a real problem. So how much do you realistically think Errol Spence Jr. versus Keith Once Upon a Time Thurman would do? That's a problem when you're talking about promoting the event.
push it to 350, 400 tops.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
You're
Even
living
though-
in dreamland, brother.
I mean, they're two record. All right, so they're two recognizable names, and they've been attached for each. They've been attached to each other for some years.
Yeah,
You know
but
what
in
I'm
reference to the demand, I'm not sure if it reaches 300,000.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't think there was that. I didn't think that was that demand for Canelo versus Plant, and it did a lot better than I thought it would.
Well, that's Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, look, he's a big mainstream star. You know, like him or not, he is the only guy who is really pushing numbers in North America at this time.
But we do have to take into account that if this fight could possibly lead to a Crawford fight, then it may do big numbers.
No, they're not. Crawford's name won't even be mentioned in the promotion. There's no point in mentioning Crawford's name in the promotion.
Look.
I can't say so right now.
Look, Tip.
No, I'm telling you.
Tip, using that logic, okay, knowing that Crawford Spence was possibly in the balance at 2023, how did it do for the sales of BLK Prime last Saturday?
Yeah, because all Crawford talked about was Spence.
Okay, so how did that help his pay-per-view sales?
How did that work out for him?
Yep.
Yeah.
It didn't. You're looking at 15,000, and that's being nice.
And if you notice the way PBC promotes, if you're not with PBC, they're not going to mention your name. It's a Gervonta Davis fights. You don't hear about Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson.
Look,
Earl
if
Spence
Crawford,
fights,
you know what, and Lefty, I'll say this: if Crawford had good representation, like you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he had quality representation, what he would have been doing was continued negotiations while this fight was being promoted. Why didn't he do that if he was genuinely interested in the fight happening 2023?
Because he's not interested in the fight happening.
That's it.
Telling people
In
the
my
fight is not
opinion,
going to happen.
this fight is deader than dead. This fight is deader than dead.
Yep.
Honestly, people are better off not even talking about this any further.
We're better off hoping for Virgil Ortiz to beat Stanionis so we can get Virgil versus Spence in Texas in front of 80,000 people.
You know, I would love that. That's a big if, guys.
That's what I've turned my attention to.
Tell you what, that's a big if, because Amana Stanionis is no joke.
Oh yeah, as we heard on the Chicken Talk interview with Iamana Stanionis, hey, Stanionis is ready to go. Been ready to go.
I interviewed him yesterday.
Great job on the interview, Lefty. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
You know what? And once again, Stanionis, you got to really feel for the guy. He's been waiting in the wings, like, for how long now?
Shit, about a year?
Yeah.
A year or so?
Yeah, it's terribly unfair. And let me tell you, this guy, boy, he's not coming into this fight on another platform, well, looking to be an opponent. He's a WBA regular title holder. And let me tell you, he has not grown accustomed to losing. He's a winner. He's got a winner's mentality. And let me tell you, I will tell you this right now on JR's platform. The winner of this fight will be the winner of the jab contest. The guy who has the best jab is going to win this fight. Both fighters have brilliant, intelligent jabs.
Yeah, Virgil's jab is sharp.
You know, Virgil and Stanionis, they both have brilliant jabs. Ask Butayev how good Stanionis' jab is.
I think they're like mirror images of each other in reference to
This
style.
is a great fight, guys, and this is a fight of the year candidate.
Yes,
before it even happens.
Yep.
So I tell you what, credit to Golden Boy for trying to get that home court advantage, but does that really happen in boxing when you're not a big ticket seller? Where do you think this is going to happen? Like, I've been to Virgil Ortiz's events.
Yeah.
Okay, he fights in a very fan-friendly style.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fight frequently enough to be a big ticket seller, not even in DFW.
Right.
You've been to his events. You know, man.
You remember when he had to pull out the McKinson fight in LA?
Yep. You know why?
That fight still sold well up until the point because even when you look at the fight, because McKinson still went hand and fought, you look at the audience, it was still a lot of people in there. So it was showing that the fight was trending well for tickets there.
Okay, let me ask you, how were the ticket sales for Virgil Ortiz versus Igas Cavallasquez in his hometown?
That was
dog shit.
Yeah, it was terrible. But a guy that lives down there told me they had it in the wrong location. He was telling me something. It was like a bad location.
That was in Frisco.
Night.
That was in Frisco.
Yeah. But he's from Grand Prairie. How far is that from Grand Prairie?
Dude, that's like a drive, man. Like a 15-minute drive.
Yeah.
Okay. It was something going on. I forgot the guy was telling me about it. He was like, it was a bad night. It was something else.
It was shocking. It was shocking, was what it was. And that tells me that Golden Boy Promotions is not making this guy a priority. They're putting way too much emphasis on a guy like Jaime Munguia and not the stud Virgil Ortiz that they have in their pocket. In my opinion, guys, if they don't make Virgil Ortiz a priority, Golden Boy is going to lose this gem. And he's a future world champion. This guy's a badass. He's a destroyer. And he's very charismatic. He's a great kid. Like, dude, what are they thinking?
I don't know.
DFW is what? The 5th largest metropolitan area in America? And he's not a ticket seller? Selling 5,000 in his hometown?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I don't think Golden Boy is doing good with a lot of the 147 pounders.
You can say that again, brother.
They did Rashidi, you know what I'm saying? Blair.
Shit.
I mean, well, Golden Boy had a lot going on also. You know, they got the bad deal over at the Zone. Because the Zone,
you know what?
They gave Eddie all the money.
You know what? I understand that, and you make a very good point, Lefty. But, dude, that's not Virgil Ortiz's problem, is it?
No, it's not.
Right. It's not. You know, and that's something that, you know, Golden Boy will have to, you know, figure out, especially with the fight of this magnitude. Now they have the opportunity to, you know, to say, hey, this is this is a guy that, you know, as you say, Joseph, is, you know, primed to be, you know, a world champion. So here he is in a showcase fight against a guy in Iamanis Stanionis who, you know, was undefeated, had, you know, one of the, you know, better wins, in my opinion, that I, you know, watched live against Radazar Butayev. And that won't be backing down for any stretch of the imagination. So, you know, I'm definitely looking forward to this fight. Like, you know, like you said, or y'all said, it's going to be a fight of the year candidate for sure. So definitely looking forward to that.
One good thing about it is that Stanionis has very good command of the English language. So Virgil doesn't have to carry the whole promotion himself. And he's also a very personable, likable guy with personality. So I hope Golden Boy takes advantage of that and get him out here too.
Where has Stanionis' last couple of fights been at? Like
he had the thing over against Butayev at AT&T, you know.
Yep. That was on the undercard of Ugas Spence. Yeah. And you know what, dude? Oh my gosh, they really mishandled that as well. Why would they have that on not the co-main event? Like, do you remember that?
It was on the it was on the
it was the main event for the Showtime portion.
It was on the Fox portion, or I'm sorry, the oh shoot, what was that? The
Showtime.
Yeah, it was on the YouTube portion of it.
No, it wasn't YouTube because when I walked in, they were finishing up, and then the main event, then the pay-per-view started.
Okay, so yeah, it was before the pay-per-view even started. So why would you have that great event before there was anyone in the arena or in the stadium?
No. It was people in the stands.
No, there was people in the stands.
Yeah, it was a lot of people in the stands.
There were a lot of people. Yeah.
I think they wanted him on the main event of the Showtime portion because the Showtime portion is still gonna get more views than the pay-per-view buys, we should say.
Well, here's the logic that I heard, right? And I asked, I'm like, why wouldn't you have this in the co-main event? This has co-main event written all over it. This is a great style matchup. And they said, well, we were afraid, and this is what I was told personally, we were afraid that it was going to steal the thunder of Spence Ugas, and we didn't want that happening.
No.
And I'm like, you know what? You guys made a terrible mistake. That's what I was told. So they put it before the pay-per-view even started. I'm like, you guys made a damn mistake. This fight is this matchup was much better and deserved much better treatment. That was a dog shit, man.
If you heard the cheers that Isak Cruz came out when he had the second biggest cheers of the night, only Spence.
That's my point. Why wouldn't you have Stanionis Butayev in that slot?
Like they could have, well, at least they could have, you know, fit it in for, you know, you would have had the thing for Cruz versus Gamboa, and then after that you would have Stanionis Butayev leading into Spence versus Ugas.
And it would have had the audience that was deserving, right? That matchup deserved an audience like that, right? Not the fifth bout on the bout sheet.
Yeah,
come on, that was disgraceful. So once again, hopefully, we'll see what happens, guys. Well, once again, it's going to be interesting to see where Golden Boy Promotions puts this event and in what venue.
You said you got the guy out in California and knows the numbers. So where is that? Where is everybody getting this 15,000 for Crawford from? Because
no. I have no way of knowing that. That's rumor. Because my guy, he gets the numbers from the antiquated cable and satellite distribution method, right? BLK Prime is direct streaming, so he has no way of knowing that.
Okay, because I'm looking at BLK Prime still on Android. They still don't have 10,000 downloads.
That's my point. It's so like,
I don't
how on earth
people
did they
are
get
even getting to 15,000? Yeah. And if you look at it on Apple, more people have Androids than they have Apple. You look at it on Apple, they only got like 70 something reviews.
Yep.
So I don't even think they have 15,000 downloads total. So I don't understand where people's getting this number from.
Yet, according to the press release, it was a great success, wasn't it, JR?
Well, they say in the press release, but you also, you also have to take into account the thing for them on the web because you got the pay-per-view.blackprime.com also, so they could also try to count that in as well. So that might be a factor or something like that. I don't know. But with that being said, that's the overtime section. I think you got 10 minutes here before Brother Joseph gets on through the War Week Radio Network, and that gives me some time to partake on some chicken teriyaki. Okay. But a good thanks to everyone that has been on for this midweek report through the Boxing Source, through here live with Tip Bayless, Lazy Lefty, Joseph Herron, White Man Paperwork, and Sports Media. Also, we also had for a little bit T3 Tank was on here joining us too. So big thanks for all of y'all joining us here tonight. Hopefully we will see more of y'all on for the next episode of the Boxing Source Radio Show coming up on Sunday night. But until then, I will check all of y'all later, y'all. Peace out.
All right.
Thank you, James.